At the beginning of the movie in Bogota, Colombia, Mike is on his way to work while driving down a crowded street. While on a phone call, he noticed a masked kid staring at him. Suddenly gets startled by a man in town who offers him a figure made from an old corn cob. Mike arrives at his job, Belko Industries. Barry, who is the chief operating officer, pulls up to find armed guards at the entrance asking to see ID, and also finds a guard turning away the local Colombian staff at the gate. As he enters the building, other Belko employees who have been working there for over a year begins to start the work for the day. Then it's shown, several camera is used to monitor every worker from the building. Mike goes to his girlfriend, Lindra, who is in the process of getting divorced, and present her the old corncob figure he bought earlier. Lindra is constantly harassed by Wendell, who doesn't get she's not interested, and both start to make out until Barry interrupts. There is new employee Danny, who is told that the employees all have trackers placed in their heads for the higher-ups to keep an eye on them, due to the high number of kidnappings that occur in Colombia. Danny becomes acquainted with Roberto and Leda. Mike goes to his office and gets suspicious of the activity of the armed guards. He calls Evans, Belko's head security guard, who also does not know who the new security guards are. Not too long after all employees are in, a mysterious voice speaks over the intercom, telling the employees that within 8 hours, most of them will be dead. In 30 minutes, they are required to kill 2 people, or else more will die. At first, most of the employees think it's just a prank, but few are frightened. The building is then completely sealed off by metal on all the doors and windows. Everybody becomes nervous and tense, while Barry tries to keep everyone calm. People play it off as a sick prank. Maintenance workers Bud and Lonnie try to melt the metal off with the blowtorch, but the metal is apparently too strong for it to have any sort of effect. Danny, Roberto, Leda, and tech guy Keith go the roof to find cafeteria worker Marty smoking a joint up there with 2 of his friends. They discuss the situation to them, but they seem unbothered. Leda finds one of the guards and they shout for help, but the guard looks away, while Marty tries to calm other group down. One of Marty's friends dies when the back of her head explodes. The others freak out. While in the lobby, 3 more people die with their skulls getting blown out one after the other. The other employees panic, thinking someone is shooting at them. Upon further inspection by Barry, the employees learn that the trackers in their heads presumed for security are set to explode. Mike goes into the bathroom to try and cut his out, only for the voice to speak and order him to stop trying to take it out, or they will detonate it on their own. Mike stops at the last second as Lindra begs him to stop. The voice then states that they are not messing around, and now it is demanded that the employees kill 30 among them within 2 hours, or 60 will be killed. Mike is getting his wounded head fixed up. Meanwhile, Barry, however, is set to make it home to his wife and kids, so he tries to get security guard Evan to give him the keys to the armory. Evan refuses to do so after he just witnessed one of his fellow guards and friend get killed by the explosive. The employees start to weigh their options, as some of them cannot bring themselves to killing anyone else. Barry somehow tries to persuade the others to consider the situation, but others disagree, considering the option is inhuman, causing most employees to split away from Barry to find other option. In the basement, Lonnie is freaking out as Bud tries to calm him down. Bud gets too close, and Lonnie reacts by hitting Bud in the head with a wrench, leaving a huge dent in Bud's head as he dies. Danny, who was hiding, witnesses the whole thing. Lonnie tries to stop her from telling anyone and he grabs her. Danny kicks herself back and causes Lonnie to back his head into a metal bar, killing him. Barry, Wendell, and Terry work together to try and break into the armory with a blowtorch. Evan tries to stop them by pulling out his gun, but he relents and must let them continue. Mike takes Evan's gun and shoots the blowtorch tank before he leaves with Leandra and Evan. The three meet up with Keith, Lita, and Roberto to make signs to hang over the building to call for help. The guards in the hangar spot them and start shooting at them, hitting Keith in his hand. The voice demands them to stop hanging up signs or their explosives will go off. Mike and his friends start to head back downstairs, but Mike gets knocked in the head with a fire extinguisher by Barry. In the heat of the moment, Wendell stabs Evan and takes his keys. Evan suffers as he bleeds out. Barry and his guys get the guns out and start ordering people to head into the lobby as they get down to less than 20 minutes before their deadline. Mike is also brought in after he regained his consciousness. They begin to group people. First group are people with children under the age of 18, and the next is a group of people above 60 years of age. Barry realizes the numbers of people above 60 years are not enough. He randomly picks other employees, including Mike. A woman among the selected insult the selection. Barry and Wendell start executing people, and Terry nearly gets to Mike until Danny cuts off the power in the basement. Barry, Wendell, and some of their goons start shooting in the dark while others make it out safely. Barry and Wendell hunt down the fleeing employees as the voice speaks over the intercom, saying only 29 have been killed, remaining 2 minutes before the time limit run out. Shortly the voice states 31 more people will die, and people's heads starts to blow off, including Terry, Lita, Peggy, and Keith, leaving only 16 survivors. The voice speaks again and says the third round of their game will have the employees with the most kills walk out free. So far, Barry and Wendell have the most kills, so they go off to try and up that count by killing everyone they come across. One woman tries to offer her body to Barry for her life. He responds by twisting her neck backwards. Also, Barry finds Danny and Roberto in the elevator shaft as Danny and Roberto try to make their way up on top. Danny gets off the top, but Roberto gets crushed by the elevator, leaving Barry stuck. Danny climbs to the other side to get out. Leandra finds Marty and his friend Chet in the cafeteria where numerous bodies are laid out. Marty and Chet dug the bombs out of the heads of those who didn't get their skulls blown out, intending to use it as a bomb to blow the iron door. Leandra decides to look for Mike along with the two. Wendell shows up and Leandra shoots at him, but unfortunately in his hand. Then Wendell starts shooting. Leandra hides behind a table with Marty and Chet, but those two get shot dead by Wendell. Leandra makes her way over to Wendell and starts swinging an axe down into his face. Mike and Leandra find each other and evade one employee who is flinging Molotov cocktails. Barry finds his way out of the elevator, wielding his gun, and shoots Danny in the head as she comes out of the elevator. The Molotov guy gets shot too. Unfortunately, so does Leandra. She dies next to Mike before he steps out in a rage and goes after Barry. The two fight until Mike grabs hold of a tape dispenser and starts bashing Barry's head in. Mike is then the sole survivor. The guards come in and pull him out. Mike is brought into the hangar, where he meets the voice himself, a man whose face is partially scarred. He tells Mike that the experiment was to observe human behavior in this type of experiment. Mike then reveals that he took the bombs that Marty dug out and slipped them onto the guards and the voice. He runs to the control panel and sets them off, then grabs a gun to shoot two other goons. The voice tries to talk Mike out of it, but he has none of it and shoots the voice dead. Mike walks out of the building. The camera pans out to reveal other screens from dozens of other belko companies where other survivors have completed their own ordeal. Another voice then commences Phase 2. Thanks for watching.